what if your child could live the life of their dreams and make a living and have a successful life? Would you be interested? Hey, everybody, welcome to Education Options TV. I'm your host, David James Rodriguez, and we are empowering parents to learn about respectful models of learning. And we have a special guest today because we're learning about empowering future entrepreneurs, a very exciting application that's coming out soon. And we got the founder here with us, Mr. Patrick Elkins, creator of Toytle. And you know, on this channel, we're helping you learn about voluntary learning options because learning is so exciting. The world is the classroom, and your child is the hope of the family, is the hope of the world. And education is natural. It's beautiful. So Patrick has created something that's really empowering for the child and the parent. So I wanted to bring him on so he could share a little bit about his company, his application, and why it's so important to raise entrepreneurs in 2023 and beyond. So before we get into the app, I want to welcome Patrick. Welcome to the show, Patrick.
Hey, man, it's a pleasure to be here, David. I really appreciate it. I'm looking forward to a great conversation, man.
Yeah, it's amazing. We met recently, got to learn about your application. And I think what really attracted me is the need to build entrepreneurs and help them learn about financial literacy, right? So I have a business degree and it never really made a difference for me. No one ever cared. But any kind of success that I had was because of my entrepreneurial attitude and learning about sales and marketing and some of the things that you're going to be teaching in your app. So I was like, this is the way. I have no hope in any politicians changing the world. It's going to be the entrepreneurs, the artists, the creators, the producers, the lovers, these people, the makers. And that's why I see entrepreneurs to be. So if you would share with the audience, what is Toytle and why did you create it?
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing, just to kind of piggyback off of something you said, I love you said the world is the classroom. And for our kids, this whole idea came from a conversation with my two boys. They're 9 and 12 now. They're 8 and 11 at the time. And the whole thing was, even at their young ages, they're very goal oriented. I don't know if you have kids or anybody listening has kids, and if your kids are the same as ours. Goal oriented. My 8-year-old wanted to buy a $250 airsoft gun. Then he wanted to buy himself a personal computer. He's 8 years old. I'm thinking, man, Christmas and birthdays are just not going to cut it. Right. You know, so we had a moment in time when they were highly motivated. And as parents, we wanted to lean into that motivation and somehow empower them, right, to set and achieve these goals. And so, quite frankly, honestly, my wife and I were running out of chores to give them. So, so that was kind of like, what's the method? How do they make extra money around the house? So we actually took a moment to sit down with them, David, and we said, hey, guys, let's sit down and let's brainstorm. Let's come up with some ideas. And, you know, sometimes that can feel a little limiting, especially for their age group. Like, what are they capable of doing? You know, washing cars, lemonade stand, let's rake some leaves, let's mow some lawns. You know, those are some of those cliche ideas. But we had this one idea that really felt like it had wings. Well, we've got 100 toys laying around the house that aren't being used anymore. The boys have either aged out of them or lost interest, or they've got something like a Nintendo Wii and they want to upgrade to an Xbox. Well, how do we help them do that? In most cases, we as parents were navigating that process for them, which was fantastic. We were helping them achieve those goals, but we were doing a lot of the process for them. They weren't learning. And so we started dialoguing, well, what could we do to actually create a tool that would empower them to learn the process? That's where this whole conversation started. And that's what sparked this whole idea. So where that led to was, what if we could build an app where kids could buy, sell, and trade toys in community, but with complete parental supervision? That was the number one thing. It's an app that's built for kids, but it's built from a parent's perspective, because even in 2023, not only financial literacy and other life skills like communication, those are so important, but what about digital literacy and being able to equip our kids even through technology, but in a safe way with a safe tool? So that's kind of the premise of where the whole idea came from.
Yeah, it's beautiful. So what you identified is the problem and how to make a solution rather than trying to go, you know, I guess you probably looked in other places to make this happen. And so break it down. My understanding of it when I heard your presentation, which was great, it's kind of like a cross between Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace for children. So I want to dive into it so the audience knows, because this app is coming out very soon. We invite you to download it and play with it. Very exciting. So get into what the vision is of the app and how it actually works.
Absolutely. Great question. And it is very much postured like a typical marketplace that you'd experience. Facebook Marketplace, my wife and I, we're avid flippers. We use it all the time, whether we're looking for vehicles or furniture, you name it. We love Facebook Marketplace. And of course, the gorilla in the space before that would have been Craigslist, especially for local buy, sell, trade. Yeah. And the thing is, those are incredible tools, especially for us as adults. However, there's no way that we were going to allow our 8, now 9, our 11, now 12-year-olds to create profiles, post listings, be out there just doing this thing on their own without supervision, especially not communicating with strangers on those platforms. As wonderful as they are, they just weren't designed for kids. And so just like you said, we started to kind of do our research and ask some questions. We asked other families, hey, does anyone know of a tool that we don't know of that actually empowers kids to do this? And nobody could answer that. And honestly, real simply, if there was one, we'd all be using it, And so that was like, wow, and it's really interesting. If you're somebody who has an idea or something that you've been thinking about and you're looking at becoming an entrepreneur, I'll say this, I think sometimes we discredit the simple ideas because we think, somebody's already done that, right? Somebody's got to be doing this. Well, this was kind of one of those moments, like somebody's must have thought of this already. Yeah. We couldn't find a single tool that was functioning in this space in a way where we as parents felt like it was meeting our standard. So what we've designed is an opportunity where kids can, take the pictures, write the description, think about the pricing. So they develop the listing, they're doing the practice, they're actually learning by doing. Again, kids learn by doing. So they're doing the process. However, when they click submit, rather than that listing going up, going live on the platform, it actually submits the listing to their parent, which is under what we call a guardian account, submits that listing to their guardian for approval. The guardian gets to go ahead and look and make sure that, their child hasn't included any personal information, the pictures are safe, the pricing is accurate, and again, it's a little bit of hand-holding. My 12-year-old, he might not know the value of whatever toy. Maybe he's listing his bike. Well, depending on the condition of the bike, let's talk about that. Let's help them learn. How do we assess? It's similar to the real estate market. You take comps, right? So if we look at other bikes in the area, my son's name is Ishmael. Hey, Ish, why don't we sit down and take a look at some of the other bikes that are for sale? And based on those other listings that we see, based on the condition, do you think your bike is in good or fair or excellent condition? How much do you think we can get for this? And start dreaming about that, engaging them in the process, talking them through it, help them, engage again, using those skills, learning what that looks like, because 10 years from now, 5 years from now, 3 years from now, my son is going to be probably looking for his first vehicle. The world is the classroom. And so teaching them. So it's going to function a lot like Facebook Marketplace, where you can list a toy and someone else can see that listing. And what we're going to start with is a local buy, sell, trade. And so we're drawing about a 200-mile radius that you can, you have a little slide bar that you can squeeze that radius down if you want to search just within 15 miles of your zip code. It's all based on your zip code. And then you can trade with other kids and families as well in your area. And so we're offering both being able to buy and sell. But one of the unique things about this, if my son has a scooter and our neighbor Joey has a skateboard or a bike that he thinks is about the equal value, they can actually offer to trade those two items as well. But the same thing for messaging. Every outgoing and every incoming message goes through the guardian first. So if somebody in our neighborhood, maybe we've never met them before, it could be an adult who's a stranger. Well, I'm going to receive that message first, be able to ensure that the content is safe, and then I can approve that my son would receive that message. So there are just a few things that we've built in to create an airtight experience and what is, strategically kind of your standard marketplace platform.
Right. Yeah, amazing, because if they were on Craigslist or eBay or these other places, they might be putting your home address or, phone numbers or these types of things. And it's like, hey. So rather than even have to have the conversation, you put it through, as you say, the guardian account.
Yes.
And that's kind of like just the parent on site. And then what I heard you say is that they would do the descriptions and the images in all these things. And then at the end, they submit it so that it can go live, but they need the guardian to approve it.
That's right.
And then they can say, hey, yeah, pricing. Yeah, your bike, it's worth more than $50. We paid $500 for it or something.
You're trying
like
to sell
that.
your Xbox for $30,
Right. They don't have to take that hard loss, which, as
Yeah.
adults they would. So it provides that little buffer. And that's really cool that you guys are a flipping family, because this is a very powerful skill. You
Yes.
go garage sailing, or you have some stuff around the house, and you can use the internet to either ship it out or have people come in and pick it up and buy that.
Yep.
And these are some of the basic things that we don't learn in business college.
That's right.
These business colleges are teaching people to become managers in the corporation. But the dream, I don't know if you know this, the human dream is to have an independent livelihood, right?
Yep,
It's
that's
not
right.
to, have all this wealth. It's just to have freedom of choice. So if I want to go on vacation with my family, or, go take them, to see grandma, or go to Hawaii, I can do that. And
That's right.
these colleges are not teaching that. And it's really a deep rabbit hole. Some of you guys know and have seen the Underground History of American Education by John Gatto, which I published. So you see what's going on. And so your app is looking like it's going to be one of the key solutions to teach young people to become entrepreneurs. And is there anything else in the app that parents should know about? I mean, you hear the safety question, I'm sure. Some
Sure.
of the skills or financial literacy, any other really cool components that parents can look forward to?
Well, I think that, overall, trying to validate this market, validate this product, we really wanted to keep it simple. So really our number one priority was safety.
Yeah.
I think when it comes to, even just inviting families to jump in on the platform, one thing that I would just say transparently, and in launching a marketplace, this is a unique thing to launch, because a marketplace, unlike selling a product that adds immediate value, a marketplace has to have supply and demand. So if you sign up in a particular city, but no one else has signed up in your city, you're not going to have anything to experience. You put a listing, there's not going to be anybody there to buy it. If you want to search and nobody else has signed up in your city, there's not going to be supply for you to purchase from. So what we've been kind of expressing to families, hey, if you are interested in being able to jump in and help your kids learn like this, maybe one of the ways you could approach it is actually reach out to a few of the families in your area and start kind of a little Toytle community, if you will. Have a few of the families start jumping in, and then you start to kind of build, the momentum for your city and your local area.
Yeah, that is amazing. I can see how that the barter, the trade thing would be very valuable and useful, right? Where it's
Yes.
like, here's what I have, what do you have? Let's get it together. Who knows what's happening with the financial and the fiat currency, the collapse,
That's right.
inflation. It's like, I don't trust these politicians. So let's build our own community and start to find each other and create win-win relationships. I
Yes.
think that's a very powerful point as well.
Well, and right now, I mean, what's happening with a lot of the toys, they're ending up at Goodwill. It's donations, which we're not taking away from that at all. I think that there is such a massive need to teach our kids about generosity, so gifting and donating, or they end up in the landfills. I mean, there's a lot of waste that happens just because, they're cluttering up our storage closets and our basements and our, sheds and whatever. And we just don't have the time, or don't want to take the time, or we don't have an outlet or a tool like this that empowers us to actually turn that into something. And it's really wild that the toy industry, just in America, over $3 billion worth of toys are sold just domestically. The annual is 35 billion. It's wild to think about that. $100 billion global market just for toys. That means families are spending a lot of money. There's a lot of opportunity for us to gain some of that back, recover some of that value, and teach our kids about it. It's an educational tool and an educational experience.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how it rolls out, because if you're shipping physical products, you have an opportunity to, like, I don't know, put some flyers in the package, or they can start building their business, whatever that business is. Maybe they make jewelry, or they do some other stuff online. So it gives them an opportunity to learn about, like, the receipt and promoting their brand. So I'm really excited about this, man. I'm glad we got to cross paths. What has been some of the other feedback? Has it been mostly positive out there? You see a lot of mothers and fathers and educators saying, like, yeah, Patrick, this is amazing.
Absolutely. And we've done a couple surveys as well. It just seems like everybody is resonating with this idea and the mission, of course, of teaching our kids but also just the utility of what it's going to provide, the value it's going to provide for families of being able to, like you said, declutter their house, trade with one another. And even, I'm thinking about some of those stories, like when somebody starts with a paperclip and they end up
Yeah.
trading up. Well, this is an opportunity, like even to challenge our kids and come up with creative ways for them to challenge themselves, again, to set, but then achieve goals. Again, if your kids are goal oriented, this is the perfect place
Yeah.
for them to practice. It's the
Mm.
perfect place for them to engage safely, but also as a parent, what we really want to do, we want to inspire parents not to just kind of set it, forget it. We actually want you to have a reason to connect with your kids and to inspire your kids and to engage with your kids and to partner with them in learning these great skills.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting because I think as they sell toys, they might even develop the ability, like I said, jewelry or some other
Yes,
creative stuff where it's like now they don't need to go buy toys or find toys. They're like making their own
that's
stuff
exactly
and
right.
like building their own business.
Yep.
And then before you know it, they're going to have their own, Shopify or eBay or other stores. And
Yes,
they don't need mom and dad anymore. So they just need mom and dad
exactly
for this
right.
initial kind of safety net of predators, right? That's the main thing. Or
Yep.
I guess predators, and so they don't get ripped off, right? I mean,
That's
those are the
right.
main risks.
Yep. Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I think that, teaching our kids to think from an entrepreneurial perspective is so important. I've talked to many people who have said, man, I wish there was something like this when I was a kid because I loved being able to trade sports cards,
Yeah.
or whatever it was. And, for my boys, I mean, Pokemon are a big thing. I think for a lot of kids that are starting to even build their own PCs, computer parts, or handmade crafts. I've even here local in our area in Reading, we have a couple of different fairs that happen throughout the year where families will show up, even kids specific, that they'll bring products that they actually handmade. This is
Yeah.
a perfect opportunity to kind of put up a digital lemonade stand, if you will, to have a digital storefront to spread their wings a little bit and learn those entrepreneurial skills.
Yeah, yeah. I think one of them is the Act On Academy Business Fair
Yep.
that I've seen. There's probably other ones out there, but this is what we need, mothers and fathers out there, is
Yep.
to lead, put your children in opportunities where they can learn how to sell, and whether they, grow up and start selling to farmers market or
Yep.
flea market or other types of marketplaces. That's the essence of wealth creation: is you
Yes.
have something and you sell it, or you buy something and you sell it, whatever it is. So these are basic concepts that many entrepreneurs know about, and these are fundamentals. But in the business schools, they're not teaching them. So it's
Yep.
almost like a back to basics, a back to how was this country founded? It was found by individual solopreneurs, entrepreneurs who came out here for freedom,
Yep.
and they want to have their own livelihood. It wasn't to become a billionaire. It's just I just want to have a good, supportive nest egg to help my family and be free. And so, what was your background in, man? You said you're flipping and stuff. Do you have entrepreneur background or business background, or how did you get inspired to really take this on, man? This is very cool.
Yeah, I was a little eclectic. I was a professional musician, actually, for many years. And from there, I stepped into an opportunity of doing technology sales with telecommunications, and then also audio, video, and lighting for organizations doing camera systems and sound systems and things like that. And I've always had this desire to step into the entrepreneurial space. In fact, when I was traveling as a musician, I had an idea that was for a proprietary product that would have to be manufactured. And uniquely right now, we're actually starting to manufacture that product. Getting into this space where now, again, the spark was a conversation with our kids, but getting into this space of tech, what I've really realized is, there's so much technology available to us that is a way that we can equip ideas and entrepreneurs to pursue dreams. It's just a powerful tool, man. And this has been an educational opportunity for me as well to see, hey, a lot of people have really great ideas, and all it takes is the knowledge and the know-how of how to equip a piece of technology as an example to be able to create an outcome that gives them a tangible reality that's it's concept to reality. And how do you walk through those steps? And as an entrepreneur, that's what we do often is we create. We find
Yeah.
a need, we see a need, and we fill a need. And so this is
Mhm.
just another one of the ways that we're learning to do that and continuing to kind of like, this is our version of that story.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, it's once we see ourselves as creators,
Mm.
it was a game-changing type
Yep.
identity, that we're taught in public school where I went. We're waiting for someone else to teach us or show us. But now these devices have changed the whole world. The phone, if you can see
Yep.
that, the
Absolutely.
internet's changed the whole world, and now you might have seen what's happening with AI in the last month or two, and I'm just like, holy cow, man,
Wild.
this is getting bananas. So that's
Yes.
another conversation. Will AI affect your app at all, or is that kind of a little bit too far down the road to foresee?
You know what? Someone asked me that question the other day about the idea of maybe using AI to power, writing descriptions and other things. And there's a piece of me that, would like to kind of at least research, what that would look like in our development process to iterate that into future, like and what areas would be the right places to interject that. Because I think, again, with the goal of being able to teach and let this be a learning experience and an educational
Right.
tool where they can practice, in my mind, I don't actually want AI doing all the work for my boys. I want my boys to actually engage themselves and engage their intellect and be able to respond, learning these tools, learning like communication, like copywriting and all of those things, be able to say, hey, you know what, if I want to incentivize somebody to take an interest in my product, how do I need to position this? What kind of pictures do I need to take so that it's clear, so that it's
Yeah.
intriguing? What kind of pricing do I need to consider if I think about the comps in this particular marketplace? Maybe
Yeah.
it's Xbox, maybe it's computers, maybe it's bikes, but maybe it's houses, maybe it's
Mm.
commercial real estate, maybe it's businesses, maybe it's a product down the road in their future. This is where they start. This is where they practice. This is how we empower them.
Yeah. Now, because your boys are making goals, can I take a guess? And you mentioned your wife's into homeschooling. Are you a homeschooling family?
We are.
Amazing. Yeah, so this is some of the other stuff I do as well, promote homeschooling, homeschool coaching for
Oh,
parents,
awesome.
because of this same reason, right? An 8-year-old and a 10-year-old or 11-year-old, you said, like, they have goals, whereas that's kind of the age, maybe that's third or fourth grade, where their
Yep.
children are losing their passion for life, and they're becoming, sitting in a desk all day as young
That's right.
boys. I'm sure that's not what you wanted. That's not what I wanted. I wanted to go out and be alive and be free and express myself. So
Yes.
that's another point for parents out there. Goal setting itself is a huge thing. And then with your app, it's going to allow young people to pursue those actual goals with a vehicle, a financial vehicle
That's right.
that is probably a step above, like you said, the lemonade stand or these other things.
Exactly
It's
right.
like, well, what if I learn some of these fundamental skills? And that was a great response you had about the AI question too, because yeah, AI can do everything, but as a free thinker, independent learner, we want them to be able to express themselves in words,
Yes.
to articulate the written or the oral word, and that's how they can succeed and really go farther places in life. So it sounds like a really amazing app. Patrick, I want to thank you for creating this idea and actually pursuing it. It sounds like it's going to be very empowering for young
Yes.
people and for parents. When do you estimate? I know it's kind of difficult with technology launches, but when do you estimate you'll have the application available, and what platforms can people find it?
Well, I heard from a little birdie that if everything goes well and we don't hit any more barriers or speed bumps, we could be live in as little as 6 weeks, which is wild to think about. I mean, it's been quite the journey, months and months and months of development. But if we smoothly get through the final reviews, we could be live in as little as 6 weeks. We're going to be both on the Apple App Store as well as Google Play Marketplace, and so we're going to be on both of those platforms, pretty much where everybody's living today. So
Nice. Very cool. And is there a place where people can, like, I don't know, get on your waiting list, or is there a website? Do you have Toytle.com, or where can people find you? Are you on socials? Where can people follow you?
yeah, absolutely. So we are on Instagram, we're on TikTok, we're on Facebook. So we hit most of the social net. We're also, our website right now is a wait list. So if you're interested in testing this with us and you'd like to even consider building a Toytle community in your local area, the way to sign up right now is on our website. It's www.toytle, which is TOYTLE.io, toytle.io. You can sign up for the wait list and we can keep you posted when we're ready to go live.
Yeah. So go to Toytle. What was it? Toytle.io.
Toytle.io.
Okay, can I ask you about the name? I had some ideas
Yes.
about the name. What is the name? Where does the name come from? Toy, and I want to say turtle, but I don't know. Is
Yep.
that right?
It,
Okay.
it is, it's interesting. And we never had like a mascot or any particular direction in mind per se, but this was also interesting. And I'll say this for all of the parents, entrepreneurs, you name it, but especially parents, including the kids in the process. Another way that our boys were able to learn was walking through these steps of creating a business from scratch. So we went through a couple of stages of iterations of this process, one of those being branding, trademarking, logo, the whole nine. So what we had to do, and initially when we developed our beta version, which I actually taught myself how to build an app on a no-code platform out of YouTube tutorials. Again, this is one of there's so much resource out there today. There's no reason why we should have anything that would be a barrier to us starting to pursue an idea. I went on YouTube and taught myself how to build an app. It took me about 3.5 months. And that app earned us the opportunity to pitch to a tech tank, and they offer us a co-foundership. And so all of this to say, my boys were along for the ride through the entirety of that journey. So going to the names, when we did our beta, we just kind of said it like it was. We actually called it Toy Trader. What we found out, and again, learning, being educated through the process, when you're looking for trademark opportunities, it's less possible to trademark something that's so generic. And so we went through an exercise where we sat down and we came up with probably 12 or 15 fanciful, creative ideas that were just play on words, and you name it. We just really had to get creative. I mean, we didn't have really a particular direction, but we were thinking toys, marketplace, kids, all of this stuff. And one of those ideas happened to be Toytle. I don't remember who said it or why they said it, but it ended up on our paper, and we had 12 or 15 ideas. Well, what we were able to do was sit down with our boys, and as a family, we got to take a vote on what we thought would resonate the most, or the one that even just spoke to us. And so we actually, again, we had about 12 or 15. We took a vote, and Toytle ended up winning. It just, I don't know, it just felt like it flowed off the tongue. It felt like there was energy behind it, and it felt fun, And so those kind of met all the check marks for us: fun, energetic, exciting, easy to roll off the tongue. So that's kind of our story about our name.
That's amazing. Yeah, I can see. I don't know if you have a mascot yet, but maybe there'll be a mascot in the future or something.
Yes.
And kind of some kind of brand thing.
Yes.
Yeah, 2 syllables, really memorable name.
Yeah.
And also a little side note for mothers and fathers out there. What Patrick's demonstrating is that when you go for it in your life as mother and a father, you're exhibiting to your son or daughters, hey, I'm going for my dreams. Because as who is it? Cervantes said, the journey is the destination. So I hope you make $1 billion and you crush it and have a great thing. But it's that journey of, hey, you remember when dad and mom, they were building this company and they were putting it together? Yeah, we made the name Toytle. Yeah, we did that. So they'll have these stories, and you can do that, mothers and fathers out there, with whatever you got going on. So you want to do it as a family unit.
Yes.
So imagine the unity that Patrick, his wife, his children are having right now. It's like they're going for it, and it's going to be up and down, right? Roller coasters, entrepreneurship, but you're doing it together. You're doing it because you have a dream, you have a goal. And I think that's what we need in 2023 and beyond, for mothers and fathers to go for it, whatever it is. Maybe you don't want to build an app. Maybe you want to start a restaurant. You want to do something. But I think the entrepreneur spirit and mindset is returning in a way that's where we've not seen in a long time, many generations, because these corporate jobs and things that just give us enough to get by, but we want to have a larger experience or more things in life. And your app seems to be one of those platforms that's going to be coming out hopefully 6 weeks. So we'll call that the end of May, hopefully, God willing. And I want to thank you for taking some time out of your day, Patrick, and for creating this and showing other fathers out there what is possible, and even as a family, come together and do something like this. So it really is a great time to spend with you. Any last words before we cut loose?
Hey man, just the thought of generational entrepreneurship, and as a father and as parents, including my wife included, obviously, just wanting to live in a way where like our ceiling becomes their floor. This is about generational empowerment, and again, like as a parent, as much as I want to bring my boys along for the journey, I don't want to force them into anything, just as much as I wouldn't force them to become an NBA, player. Like, what I want to do is I want to navigate, like, obviously their capacity is going to be a little different than ours, as an adult. And so I think what we need to do as parents is really just kind of take the cues. It's okay to challenge them beyond what they think their comfort zone is, right? Or what their comfort level is. So we've done that a few times. Say, hey, boys, think about what the impact of this one decision could be, or the impact of this process or project that we're working on. If we stick with it, we're going to see the fruit of it. We're going to gain the reward. Well, there are other times, and things that have been a part of our journey in the process that, really, maybe they weren't equipped with the maturity or the capacity. Like, there are things I've had to kind of be the tip of the spear and lead with. There are other things I've been able to invite them into the process. And I think that it's really important for us as parents to just take those moments to pause. And when there is an opportunity, make sure that we create, that open door and extend that invitation for our kids to join in. Because I think sometimes it's easy for us to just kind of get in the go mode and we're not even thinking about that inclusion aspect. But man, like, what does it look like for us to stop and look for the opportunities where we can include our kids, where they can be exposed to these learning and educational types of experiences?
Yeah, no, I love that. That's a great way to sign off, because we believe in voluntary learning here at Education Options, even homeschool entrepreneurs, that, you might have the best thing in the whole world.
Yep.
But forcing it actually is immoral. It's wrong. Coercion is wrong. And the whole school system itself, my evaluation is damaging children at a deep level. And my mother was a public school teacher. My family members are working the system now. So it's not necessarily that there's bad humans. It's the system that's based on coercion. And entrepreneurship seems to be the way, but to force it on them can cause a kind of like a repelling effect.
That's
And
right.
you want to have them make their own choices in life. As adults, we have consequences. And so we should learn how to make our own decisions. And if we don't want to make it start a business as a young kid, maybe we'll do it later. But regardless, Patrick, thank you for creating this and for creating this opportunity for parents to learn about entrepreneurship. Maybe they weren't raised
Yeah.
around entrepreneurship, and they have an opportunity to see like some of these things, copywriting or headlines or images, some of these basic things, but they're very critical. And we see social media is going to be continually, just a great way to get the word out, where people engage. It's entertaining. So that's another opportunity. I'm sure there's maybe some kids apps for social media for kids, but entrepreneurship is the future of the planet, in my opinion.
Right.
And it's just a beautiful thing to see you in the midst of what you're creating for your sons and the other, children out there in the world. And so for mothers and fathers out there, I want to thank you also for tuning in to Education Options TV. We're exploring respectful models of learning, because learning is beautiful. It's fun. It's empowering. We love to learn. Your child learned to walk and talk with no curriculum and no coercion. So you don't have to force them to do anything except just love them, right? That's it. Love them, support them, understand the ups and downs of life. And thanks for joining us on the show. Thank you, Patrick. And we'll see you guys next time on Education Options TV. See you, everybody.